Well, greetings once again to all of you, and especially my friends. This topic today is maybe the most important topic I could possibly discuss with you. And I know it sounds odd, but it's really around friendship. The underlying principles about friendship and its effect on consciousness, well being, health, family, and so on is becoming stronger and clearer for me. The COVID experience really helped me see that, not only in the social dynamics around it, but in the middle of the COVID experience, I got something of a direct download about how the infusion of caring that can come between people is really the foundational principle upon which everything is constructed. So now I'm also wanting to engage in that more actively. And I would say that the most significant, unusual experience I had, 40 years ago, which I'll share some other time, but the key message to it was in these words that came very audibly to me. If you want to know me, know my children. If you want to love me, love my children. And there was no hesitation about what its implication or purpose or application was. But I must confess that I refused that because at the time I did not have a particular caring about the nature of people in the world because of the cruelty and savagery. And my goodness, this was in 1979. Even compared to now, it's very different. So the whole experience of how we treat each other is the foundational principle of how we link to the higher worlds, and our relationship to every increment of our progress is linked into the caring, sharing of people. And even obviously our parents and grandparents and so on, these are all processes based on how people relate to each other to create obviously subsequent generations of people. So the intentional application of friendship has become front and center for me. And now I realize that it can be actually a intervention or a therapeutic function or a social or a love function. It can be many different forms of application. And I'm also aware that it may be the primary instrument to help all of us, not only individually progress, but collectively and so on, and may have the opportunity to substantially change where our world is in the moment. Unity, fraternal experience of sharing, or fraternal love. This is, something we all could well use. And I'm learning it myself. I have to tell you, I just have not been good at it. I have to tell you that I traveled country to country, and there were many beautiful people that I did not get the opportunity to spend time with or discover or learn about or develop a friendship with. But now I look at maybe 95% of the friends I have in my life actively in the present, I probably met somewhere within the work, and I had an opportunity to get to know them. And yes, I'm saying if you have a hobby or a profession that utilizes the birth order, and you have a hobby or profession that might utilize the iris, it's a very personal thing to do, to sit down with someone and look at their iris or look at their family tree. You have a very unique moment of sharing deeply with another human being. And that's one of the gifts of this kind of work. But in the middle of all that, I didn't take the time to continue that interface, and I moved on to another city or another country and so on and so on for years. And I have some remorse about, for some of you, I didn't get a real chance to get to know your life, your family, your mate, your children, your career. And the reality is that I think if we have two or three really good friends in a lifetime, it might be a precious thing just to have a few. Most of the time, and I'm sure this is also true for you, I've had friends and they've come and gone, and they're here and they're gone. I've had lovers, I've had wives, I've had people that come and go in my experience, and they're gone, and I go, wait a second, where's the friend I thought I had in that person in that moment that left? Wow, how am I? So I found myself going back in my own practice, in my morning forms of acquiring a greater sensitivity. I started going back through the years of my life, including this last year, to each significant person I can recall that I came in contact with. And I went through a process of appreciation and gratitude, no matter what the outcome was or whether I triggered them or they triggered me. I'd really like to be able to clean up all of that in my own personal life. And then I'm taking a look at the last year and go, wow, there's been about a dozen people I've come in contact with. Well, even through consultations online internationally. Now there's probably more than a dozen. And are there others even around me in my neighborhood and professionally or otherwise? There are people around me I just really haven't had the time or haven't invested the time to really feel them. Honestly, how many people can you be 100% transparent about what you feel, what you believe, what you practice? How many people are willing to sit with you and feel that? Well, not many, not in my case. It's a rare person. So if I spot 4 or 5 in a year, I go, wow, I missed it. And then what about last year and the year before? So I've gone backwards slowly in every year of my life, which, okay, obviously has taken me a while, and all the way back to my childhood friends. And I have one childhood friend who was with me in kindergarten. I think it was kindergarten or first grade. He's still with me today, obviously years later, and we have a type of friendship, and we talk, once every other week or once a month sometimes. But he knows very little about what I actually do. He doesn't have any idea, like some of you do. Okay, the guy is a little out there in a way, but he's still a very deep friend, and he just went into the hospital, and I called him and we had a conversation. He's really afraid of dying, and he's having an open heart thing and whatever. I follow through and I feel him, and he's part of my life. I appreciate that I have the opportunity. How many more opportunities did I not take advantage of over those many years? So I have some sadness and remorse about that. I am processing that with the protocol and so on. But back to you. I'm urging you to just try a few things. Now, one of the things I've been doing myself, which some of you've heard about, is the gifting friends is an intentional exercise of finding people that you already have that are friends that that maybe been around 10 years or 30 years, and you go, look, you've been around, I really appreciate your friendship, and I want to give gratitude for every part of it, and I want to do something to increase my appreciation of you. Doesn't mean we have to spend more time or negotiate something or travel between states or regions or countries, but you're my dear friend. And what I'd like to do is I'd like your permission to just feel you. So I have a thing, I'll show you just different graphic for a moment. I have a thing where I send my friends, I send them a figure eight. By the way, this is all of the, if you will, ascending processes and descending processes of the mother's family and the father's family. Some of them know all about this and we're engaged in it, but I take 15 seconds of my time, which is really about 2 long breaths, and I see and feel that person that I've had their permission from, and I feel them. I'm learning also to include their mates, because I think that's a fair thing to do, and just 15 seconds. So I have a group of people right now, it's about 30 I'm working with, that I've have this agreed relationship with, that I take 15 seconds a day and feel one at a time. The human experience of sharing with one actual person that you know is very different than the concept of brotherly love as a general principle. This is really to do this dynamic with them. So consider that as a possibility, or however you want to do it. Whatever you do in that moment doesn't have to be related to cycles and seasons like this is. It can be related to you're happy this hour, or you've seen the moon, or you like the sunrise, or a blue butterfly comes by, or whatever. You go, I'm feeling this. I'm just going to send it with no expectations of anything. Just send. Please get their permission first. Yes, you can give people things without them knowing it. You can pray for people without them knowing it. You can do all of that, but we're really talking about a level of transparency where they know you're doing this, and give them the opportunity to return it to you. If it's once a day or once a week, I'm actually enthusiastically doing this for the next 3 years or more, but really engaging in it. So part of this process is how it's affected me. What I notice only practicing it enthusiastically since January, 2022, I'm really involved in it, and I'm using all the cycles and seasons stuff with it, is that my feeling content when it comes to people is taking a gradual increase of the sense of presence, meaning that I can feel them more quickly, I can feel them more deeply, and I think it also translates that into my own feelings, and maybe to the people around me, or to nature, or the community, and so on. I'm really liking this a lot, and I'm encouraging you to consider something like this. Just say thank you to somebody who's been a friend. Maybe do something like this with them. And then maybe consider that you can accelerate that by knowing the month. Like this right now is the month of the first month of spring in the Northern Hemisphere. And so it has that interior heartfelt passion of things wanting to grow. So I'm practicing sending an outbound fire, passion, growth. If you've ever seen the old Bambi movie of Twitter Patient and Thumper, and I'm sending joyful celebrations or flowers blooming to my friends. I don't know what they're doing, and I don't always do this at the same time of the day. I do it at different times of the day. And I don't always do it in the same order. And some people I notice I find myself stopping and doing it for them. Nice. It's a really personal thing to do. It may be the single most important thing I've ever done because it's designed to accelerate the experience of the outbound function of the heart. So it's the outbound function of the heart. I used to wonder, do I receive first or give? Well, right now, I'm no longer fuzzy about that. Give first. Some people say you can't give from an empty place. Well, you can't empty something if something doesn't move. So they really have to happen at the same time. So I'm saying give in some form. Now, there are enormous opportunities. You see each one of these waves that you see around. This is just an interwoven figure eight. And, you know, the one on the white has to do with father's family and the daytime, and the dark line is mother's family, you know, in the nighttime. But there are yin friends and there are yang friends. There are male and female, and I urge you to have friends of both genders as much as you possibly can. And to be able to do this, now I also need to tell you that if you engage in an exercise like this, please practice the protocol. That's the one where you have to be able to process your own law of attraction. Because what I've noticed is that anytime I want to expand my friends, I hit a boundary and here comes a trigger. The trigger comes because the trigger has been a boundary, something I've denied, a feeling I haven't processed. So rather than try to make it go away by claiming that it's not mine, I go, if there's a trigger, it's mine. And so I, not just with that person, but no matter where it comes from, please learn how to do the protocol as you're increasing your friendship. Because, by the way, you're going to need to, because this is a way of accelerating your own progress. And then learning to send it to a few people that maybe we can lift the envelope of, well, many other people. But there's another interesting thing that I'd like to share with you about how this works. And it looks a little bit like this. And this is, by the way, an old graphic. But people are like colors. People are like blue and pink and green and yellow and gold and all the other colors you see. Each person has a combination of colors. Usually 2 or 3 is their primary, if you will, vibratory nature of their intellect and their feeling, and a specific attribute of their own soul. Everybody has special attributes. But what I've noticed is my willingness to go out to them, and when they're coming back, I get to more empathetically slipstream on their qualities. And I've discovered that, wow, with my own sincere desire to want to feel them, and I can feel them with my empathy and want to just give to them, it's almost like, you know, body surfing on one color, or body surfing with the feeling of, okay, body surfing, I used to body surf, so sorry if the metaphor bothers you at all, but it's like going down that line or that line or that one or that one. Wow, that person has an attribute that I don't have as clearly defined or as accessible. It could be intelligence, it could be feeling, it could be imagination, it could be joy, laughter, it could be some other uniquely personal attribute, characteristic of their birth order or their iris or their whatever. Wow. Wouldn't you like to go body surfing in all of the different colors of the rainbow and have them all be shared with? Okay, you think I'm crazy? Wait a second. No, I think you're a little crazy if you don't consider it. Because this is, I think, how we're going to grow and feel. And how well we do this, the giving and receiving function, person to person, even later on in groups, is going to determine where we are in the degree of love scale when we leave here, we're determined by how well we have treated people. Wow. So I'm just saying to you, just consider the opportunity to say out of the blue to someone, thank you for being my friend. Maybe that's enough. Or you might say to them, oh, by the way, I'd really like to have your permission to just feel you 15 seconds a day. Or you might want to do it 15 seconds a week. I don't know. But one of the things I'm going to put out, as I told you, I have about 30 people I'm doing with this actively now as an exchange process. I'm going to put it out there that I want to take the people who are willing to do this, make a list of them wherever they are in the world that want to exchange this in some form or another. And I want to start developing a beginning of a relationship with them, but maybe start out with once a week. So if you're feeling bold and you want to start this process, the other part of something like that is you actually get the benefit of everyone else who's ever done this with me anywhere in the world. Yes, so be prepared to understand how it works, literally what that figure 8 looks like. If you really want to do it, yes, I would engage in spending 10 or 15 seconds a week with one person out of whatever the number that wants to sign up for this. If you want to sign up for it, let me know. I'm willing to expand my circle of friends, and some friends start from a long, long ways away. And it doesn't mean we ever have to meet. And it certainly doesn't mean we have to understand each other, but we can agree to go, wow, I'd really like to support your spiritual process in the world and your right to exist and the right to make your own free will decisions, regardless of your race, color, creed, gender, age. Wow. This is where I'm going. I'm kind of excited to be doing it, and I'm already really experiencing some of the benefits, so I just wanted to share it with you. So to my friends, thank you. To all my friends to come from the future, thank you. And to all those other friends who don't know they're my friend, brother, sister, whoever, we have plenty of time. Don't worry about it. We'll get there. Talk to you soon.